The wolf was 3 meters tall. Its crimson eyes burned through the dark like two dying suns. Behind it, 14 more pairs of eyes appeared between the trees. The wooden wall behind Lin Tianyu had already been reduced to splinters. He had nowhere to run. His hands were shaking. His axe felt too light. And the only thought running through his mind was, this morning I was filling out spreadsheets. 3 hours earlier, Lin Tianyu had always believed his life was perfectly, unremarkably, beautifully ordinary. Stable job, decent salary, a father who burned water and called it cooking, a mother who could silence an entire room with one look, a little sister who collected insects and named them, a grandfather who woke up at 5 a.m. to lecture anyone unlucky enough to still be asleep. Nothing extraordinary, nothing magical, and that was enough. As someone who had read every transmigration novel, every ice guy, every ordinary man gets cheat ability and dominates another world story ever written, he knew exactly how ridiculous those scenarios were. He had laughed at them, loved them, never once believed them, until the dizziness hit. One ordinary afternoon. His desk, his keyboard, his vision folded inward like paper. Truck coin? A mysterious old man. A heavenly tribulation? He waited. Nothing happened. No truck. No God. No beautiful celestial being descending in golden light. Only darkness. Only silence. And then underscore. Welcome to Arcadia World Player. World initialization complete. He had argued with the system about the username for 0 seconds. Family hot pot forever. No hesitation. Years ago, his father had nearly burned down the kitchen attempting hot pot. The smoke alarm had gone off 3 times. His grandfather had stood in the doorway watching with the expression of a man reconsidering every life choice that had led to this moment. Username confirmed. Welcome, family hot forever. The blue void shattered, and Lin Tianyu landed in a forest that smelled like fresh grass and something he couldn't name yet. Something like dangered. He had spent the next 2 hours doing exactly what the system told him. Gather branches. Gather stones. Build a shelter. Not because he trusted the system, because the failure condition said unknown. And Lin Tianyu had read enough stories to know that unknown was always worse than whatever they could have written. The shelter went up crooked, and it didn't matter. His hands were sore, but finally, shelter completed. Reward. Plus 50 EXP. Beginner supply box times 1. Beginner supply box times 1. Level up. Current level. 2. The supply box cracked open. Iron axe. Bread times 5. Water times 3. Coins times 100. Okay. He exhaled. This is manageable. Then the sky went dark in under a minute, and the system spoke in a voice that left no room for argument. Survival probability outside. 2.4%. The birds stopped singing all at once, like something had pressed mute on the entire forest. Then, rustle. 1 pair of red eyes. 5, 10, 30. What kind of beginner area is this? Present. The wolf lunged. Lin Tianyu moved on pure instinct, rolling left as 300 kilograms of muscle and teeth cratered the ground where he had been standing half a second ago. The impact threw him off his feet. He hit the wall, grabbed the axe, came up swinging. Slash. Critical hit. Blood hit the dirt. The wolf screamed. And somewhere in the chaos, a notification exploded across his vision that he almost missed entirely. World chat unlocked. Dragon pop _ cooks. The frogs can jump. Dragon pop _ cooks. They can jump. Dragon pop _ cooks. Why can they jump like that? Lin Tianyu stared at the notification for exactly 1 second. The wolf charged again. He rolled again. And somehow, inexplicably, in the middle of his own survival, he laughed. Whoever you are, Dragon Papa, I hope you make it. He didn't know that Li Jianhong, his father, was currently using a frying pan as a shield against a giant amphibian in a swamp 300 kilometers away. He didn't know any of it. All he knew was, the wolf had a scar over its right eye, a blind spot. Rules. This world had rules, and rules, could be exploited. First monster kill, plus 80 EXP. Level up, current level, 3. The wolf dissolved into black smoke. Something golden hit the ground. Lin Tianyu picked it up with hands that were still shaking. Skill book, Eye of Weakness, grade, rare, he stared at it. The forest was quiet again. Dawn was beginning to bleed through the trees. He had survived. And somewhere far above Arcadia, in a place that had no name, 2 voices went silent. A rare drop. First night. That 0.01% probability. A pause. Check his family. Why? The first voice didn't answer immediately. When it did. Because ordinary people don't choose usernames like that. Family hot pot forever. He was already thinking about them before he even knew if they were here. Another silence. Find them. All of them. Current level, 2. Oh. So leveling is this easy. Another notification appeared. Level up reward. Plus 5 free attribute points. Lin Tianyu's eyes lit up. Interesting. After a moment of thought, he distributed them. Strength plus 2. Vitality plus 1. Agility plus 1. Intelligence plus 1. He had no idea which stats were important. But being balanced was never wrong. Open supply box. The chest exploded into particles of light. Iron axe. Bread times 5. Water times 3. Universal coins times 100. Crude wooden spear recipe. Nice. A weapon. Exactly what he needed. Unfortunately, the sky suddenly darkened. The cheerful atmosphere vanished. The temperature dropped. And then, the system spoke. Warning. Night has fallen. Please remain inside your shelter. Survival probability outside. 2.4%. Lin Tianyu froze. 2.4%. Are you serious? For the first time since arriving in Arcadia, he felt genuine fear. Outside, the forest had changed. Birds had stopped singing. An eerie silence covered everything. Then, rustle, rustle, rustle. Something was moving, and there wasn't just one. There were many. Red eyes appeared between the trees. 1 pair, 5 pairs, 10 pairs, dozens. Lin Tianyu swallowed. What the hell? Boom. Something slammed against his wooden wall. He jumped. Another impact. Boom. Cracks appeared. And then, boom. Half the wall exploded. Standing outside was a giant wolf nearly 3 meters tall. A sudden panel appeared on his head. Mutated dire wolf. Level 5. That its crimson eyes stared directly at him. And behind it, more eyes appeared. Not 1. Not 2. At least 15 wolves. Duh. System. I think we're having a misunderstanding here. I'm level 2. What kind of beginner area is this? Emergency quest activated. Survive until dawn. Reward? Failure. Death. Lin Tianyu almost cursed. Death? You could have mentioned that earlier. The giant wolf lunged. Roar. Pure instinct took over. He rolled sideways. Crash. The creature smashed into the ground where he had been standing. Damn. Its speed was terrifying. If he had reacted a second slower, he would have died, no doubt about it. Fortunately, the wolf had underestimated him. Grabbing his iron axe, Lin Tianyu swung with all his strength. Slash. Blood splattered. Critical hit. The wolf howled in pain. Meanwhile, world chat had completely descended into chaos. Sweet Princess 55. Why are there spiders? Goblin Hunter 77. My house is on fire. Old man fishing. I regret everything. Dragon Pop _cooks. Dragon Pop _cooks. The frogs can jump. Dragon Pop _cooks. They can jump. Despite nearly dying, Lin Tianyu burst out laughing. Whoever this Dragon Papa guy is, he's hilarious. Unknown to him, Li Jianhong, his father, was currently running for his life, still clutching the frying pan he had somehow obtained from his beginner chest. Get away from me. Why are you so big? I'm just an accountant. Back inside the shelter, the battle had only just begun. The mutated dire wolf attacked again. But this time, Lin Tianyu noticed something. The beast's right eye. It had a scar. Its movements were slightly slower on that side. Weakness. As expected. No creature was perfect, he smiled. And for the first time since entering Arcadia, Lin Tianyu stopped feeling fear, because he realized something. This world had rules, and rules could be exploited. Hat. Now we're talking. First monster kill. Plus 80 EXP. Level up. Current level. 3. The wolf dissolved into black smoke. Something golden hit the ground. Lin Tianyu picked it up with hands that were still shaking. Skill book. Eye of weakness. Grade. Rare. He stared at it. The forest was quiet again. Dawn was beginning to bleed through the trees. He had survived. And somewhere far above Arcadia, in a place that had no name, 2 voices went silent. A rare drop. First night. That 0.01% probability. A pause. Check his family. Why? The first voice didn't answer immediately. When it did. Because ordinary people don't choose usernames like that. Family hot pot forever. He was already thinking about them before he even knew if they were here. Another silence. Find them. All of them. Chapter 2. The first night. Arcadia does not ask if you are ready. It only asks if you will survive. POV. Limei Litiani's mother. Location. Arcadia, Silver Mist Meadows. The first thing Limei noticed wasn't the glowing panels. It wasn't the unfamiliar sky or the silver grass swaying without wind. It was the silence, not the peaceful kind. The kind that means something is already watching you. She didn't move, didn't speak, just listened. 30 years of living with Li Guowei had taught her one thing above everything else. In silence, you learn more than in noise. The system panel appeared before her eyes. Class assigned. Sacred Healer. She read it once. Closed it. A support class. Meant to stand behind others. Meant to protect. Meant to heal. Most people would have felt disappointed. Limei had spent her entire life being underestimated. She was used to it. The shadow came from her left, fast. Low to the ground. Silent. She didn't run. She turned, just slightly, and drove her staff into the earth, sacred ground. Gold erupted beneath her feet. The creature hit the barrier and dissolved mid-lunge. No scream. No struggle. Just gone. Like smoke meeting light. Limei exhaled, looked down at her hands, then at the meadow ahead. More shadows were gathering at the tree line. Dozens of them. Waiting. Calculating. She counted them without blinking. Too many for one night. She should have felt fear. Instead, she felt something else entirely. That specific feeling she only got when all 4 of them were sick at the same time. When the bills were late and the pipes were broken and her father-in-law had somehow made everything worse by trying to help. That feeling of, that I am the only thing standing between this family and disaster. Again, her grip tightened on the staff. The shadows stepped forward. Limei smiled. Not warmly. Come then. POV. Liyue. Spirit Summoner Level 1. Location. Alcadia. Emberstone Ruins. The spirit fit in the palm of her hand. White fur. Moon eyes. Ears too big for its body. Completely, objectively, devastatingly cute. Liu had exactly 4 seconds to appreciate this before the ruins started collapsing. Warning, ancient seal breaking. Recommend immediate evacuation. She looked at the notification, looked at the crumbling stone corridor ahead, looked at the spirit in her hands. What did you do? The spirit sneezed. There was no time. The ground cracked open beneath her feet, and Liu jumped, pure reflex, grabbing a broken pillar mid-fall, swinging herself onto a higher ledge as the floor below her simply ceased to exist. She landed hard, rolled, came up breathing fast. Below the ledge, something rose from the dark. It had no clear shape, just mass, just presence. Ancient stone crumbling away from something that had been buried for a very long time. The spirit went completely still in her arms, not trembling, still. The way animals go still when they recognize something older than fear. Liu stared down at it. Her heart was slamming against her ribs. Her legs wanted to run. But her eyes were doing something different. They were studying it, the way it moved, where its weight shifted. The crack running up its left side like an old wound that never healed properly. Her brother's voice, somewhere in her memory. Observe first. She took one breath. Okay. Her hand rose. Let's see what you can do. The spirit looked up at her, and for just a moment, its moon eyes flickered, not white, gold. Chapter 3. Eye of the Predator. Dawn in Alcadia didn't arrive gently. It tore through the darkness like something impatient. One moment, black. The next, gold. Lin Tianyu stood at the entrance of what remained of his shelter and watched the forest reappear. Trees. Grass. Silence. The 30 pairs of red eyes from last night, gone. Like they had never existed. He looked down at his hands. Dried blood on his knuckles. A crack running up his axe handle. 3 broken nails. Real. All of it. He exhaled. Day 2. He spent the first hour doing what any sensible person would do after surviving something they shouldn't have. Taking stock. Current status. Level 3. HP. 74/80. Coins. 100 at inventory. Iron axe. Bread times 3. Water times 2. Skill. Eye of weakness, rare. Low health, low supplies. Need food, need water, need levels. He pulled up the system interface and found something he hadn't noticed the night before, a small icon in the corner. System shop. He opened it. System shop, general market, potions. Minor healing potion times 1, 80 coins. Minor stamina potion times 1, 60 coins. Food and water. Dried biscuit times 3, 30 coins. Purified water times 2, 20 coins. Field ration pack, 50 coins. Materials. Iron ore times 5, 45 coins. Rope times 3, 15 coins. Player market, live listings. Goblin Hunter 77. Selling wolf pelt times 2, 40 coins each. DM me. Old man fishing. I have branches times 15. Will trade for any food. Desperate. Sweet princess 55. Does anyone have rope? I'll give spider silk times 3. Dragon pop underscore cooks. Selling giant frog leg times 4. Yes, they are edible. I checked. Dragon pop underscore cooks. No, Gerald is not one of them. Please don't ask. Lin Tianyu stared at the last listing for a long moment. Giant frog legs. He bought the dried biscuits and purified water. 50 coins total. 50 coins left. I need to earn more. He closed the shop, shouldered his axe, and stepped into the forest. The difference between day and night in Arcadia was not just light. It was the type of creature that appeared. Daytime monsters were smaller, faster, easier to read. In the first hour, Lin Tianyu encountered 3 thorn rabbits, which sounded harmless. They were not harmless. They were rabbits the size of medium dogs with spines running down their backs and the temperament of something that had never once in its life been told no. Thorn rabbit, level 2. First one, he misjudged the speed. It grazed his forearm. Minus 4 HP. Ow. Second one, he used Eye of Weakness. Found it. A soft spot behind the left ear. Slash. Critical hit. Third one, clean. Efficient. 1 strike. Plus 45 EXP. Plus 30 EXP. Plus 30 EXP. Item drop. Thorn rabbit meat times 2. Rabbit pelt times 1. Thorn spine times 4. He looked at the meat in his inventory. Then, at his remaining bread. I could cook this. The thought arrived before he'd considered whether he knew how to cook. He found a clearing. Gathered dry wood. Started a fire the way he vaguely remembered from a camping trip 10 years ago with his grandfather. It took 4 attempts. His grandfather would have said nothing. Just watched with that expression that communicated disappointment more efficiently than words. I know, Lin Tianyu muttered to no one. The fire caught on the 5th try. He skewered the meat on a sharpened branch and held it over the flame. Too close at first, the outside burned while the inside stayed raw. He pulled it back, adjusted, watched it this time instead of just waiting. There, the color changing slowly, evenly. The smell shifting from raw to something that made his stomach react in ways the dried biscuits never had. Something clicked. Not a skill. Not a system notification. Just understanding. Heat is a variable, not a constant. You control it. He turned the meat again, slower this time. When he finally pulled it off the flame, it wasn't perfect. But it was right. He took 1 bite. And then, system notification that a hidden condition has been met. New passive skill unlocked. Flame and instinct. Grade. Uncommon. You have learned to listen to heat. Cooking with intention restores 15% more HP per meal. Unlocks access to Cooking Crafting tab in System Shop. New listings available. Raw ingredients, cookware, spice bundles. Lin Tianyu read the notification twice. A cooking skill. He looked at the half-eaten skewer in his hand, then laughed quietly. Dad would never let me live this down. Meanwhile, in the world chat, notifications drifted past like leaves. He almost didn't notice them. Almost. World announcement. Player Sacred Lotus _M has become the first player to perform a multi-target heal. Title earned. Mother of the Field. World announcement. Player Moonchild _Y has become the first player to evolve a spirit. Title earned. Awakener. Lin Tianyu scrolled past it all absently, already opening the new cooking tab in the system shop. He didn't register the names. Just other players doing impressive things on day 1. Nothing to do with him. He tapped on the new listings. Cooking Crafting tab. Raw ingredients. Forest mushroom times 3. 10 coins. Wild herb bundle. 8 coins. River fish times 2. 25 coins. Cookware. Iron pot. 120 coins. Portable grill, 90 coins. Knife set, 45 coins. Iron pot. He checked his coins. Not yet. He closed the shop and stood up. More grinding. By midday, he had pushed deeper into the forest than he intended. Level 4. Then 5. New creatures appeared the further he went. Moss-backed lizards, slow but armored. He found the gap between their scales with eye of weakness. Shadow wasps, fast and vicious in groups. He ran from the first swarm, regrouped, came back with fire. A stone golem, level 6. Took 20 minutes and most of his stamina. Dropped iron ore times 3 and a shield fragment. He sold the shield fragment on the player market immediately. Family hot pot forever. Shield fragment times 1. 35 coins or trade for cookware. The response came in under a minute. Goblin Hunter 77. I have a basic knife. Deal. Done. He kept moving. He found the valley by accident. One moment, forest. The next, the trees simply ended. And below, a valley so wide he couldn't see the other side. Dark. Even in daylight. Like the sun had decided not to bother with whatever was down there. Lin Tianyu stopped at the edge, looked down, and activated Eye of Weakness out of reflex. The skill found nothing. Not because there was no weakness, because there was nothing small enough for the skill to isolate. Then something moved in the darkness below, slowly. The kind of movement that didn't rush because it had never needed to. A shape. He couldn't determine where it started or ended. A panel flickered at the edge of his vision, the system trying to generate information, and then, entity, unclassified. Warning, level differential 2 extreme TO calculate. Lin Tianyu stared at the word unclassified. The shape below shifted again, and then, point one eye opened, the size of a house. It looked up, directly at him. For exactly 2 seconds, Lin Tianyu and something ancient and enormous made eye contact across a valley that suddenly felt very small. He stepped back from the edge. Slowly, calmly, 1 step, 2 steps, 3. Then he turned around and walked back into the forest at a pace that was absolutely not running. Okay, that exists at I am level 5. That is not a level 5 problem. He pulled up his stat page while walking, then opened his quest log, then the system shop. He needed an iron pot. He needed level 10. He needed to never think about that eye again until he was ready. Grind. Just grind. By nightfall, he had built a better shelter. Reinforced walls. A fire inside. Rabbit meat cooking slowly over the flame. Level 6. 847 coins. Iron pot purchased. Sitting beside him. Not much. But more than this morning, he stirred the broth he'd made from river water, wild herbs, and whatever the system shop called forest mushroom. It wasn't hot pot. It wasn't even close to hot pot. But the smell that rose from the pot was warm in a way that the forest wasn't. He stared at it for a moment longer than necessary. I'll get better, he said quietly, to no one. Or maybe. But to someone he couldn't reach yet. World chat. Night. Dragon pop _ cooks. Good night, everyone. Dragon pop _ cooks. Day 2. Still alive. Dragon pop _ cooks. If anyone is scared tonight, you're not alone. We're all here. Old man fishing. Thanks, old man. Sweet princess 55. Goblin Hunter 77. Don't make it weird. Goblin Hunter 77. But yeah, thanks. Lin Tianyu closed the chat, leaned back against the shelter wall. Outside, something howled in the distance. He didn't move, just watched the fire. And somewhere in the back of his mind, some names drifted past like smoke. Sacred Lotus _ Moonchild _ He still didn't register them. But something did. Something quiet. Below thought. Below logic. The part of him that had chosen family hot pot forever before he even knew if they were here. That part recognized something. And said nothing. Far above Arcadia. He found the valley. Silence. He saw it. Briefly. It noticed him. And it. He walked away. Another silence. Longer. He walked away from an eternal class entity at level 5. Yes, not because he was afraid. No, his vitals were stable. He assessed the situation and made a calculated decision. The first voice said nothing for a long moment. The family. Yes, are they all like this? A pause. The healer eliminated 30 shadow creatures without taking damage. The summoner's spirit just hit mythic grade on day 1. The old man still isn't registering on any of our systems. And the father? He named a frog. That's not what I asked. He tanked a level 8 elite with a frying pan and 0 skills. Then he cooked the monster that tried to kill him. Then he checked on strangers in the world chat. The longest silence yet. Watch them. All of them. Especially the father. Chapter 4. Until the last wave. Day 3 in Alcadia began with a decision. Lin Tianyu sat cross-legged in front of his shelter, iron pot beside him, stat page open, and made a list, not in his head, an actual list. Written in the dirt with a stick. Level 10, Zone 2 access. Current level, 6. For levels, time available before next nightfall, approximately 9 hours. He studied it. Possible. He stood up. Probably. He picked up his axe. Let's find out. The first thing he noticed was that the forest had layers. Close to his shelter, level 2 and 3 creatures. Easy. Predictable. Almost boring after last night. Further in, level 4 and 5. Faster. Smarter. They tested him. And beyond that he could feel it before he saw it. A shift in the air. Heavier. Like the forest was holding its breath. A natural boundary. The kind that didn't need a sign. Entering deep wood territory. Recommended level 8+. Warning. Party recommended. Lin Tianyu read the warning. Looked behind him. No party. Looked ahead. Dark trees. Dense undergrowth. Something moving between the shadows that was definitely not a rabbit. He did the math quickly. He was level 6. Recommended was level 8. The gap was 2 levels. 2 levels was not nothing. But the gap between where he was and level 10 wasn't going to close itself in the outer forest. Party recommended, he muttered. Not party required. He stepped forward. The first creature that found him was a deepwood stalker. Deepwood stalker, level 7, that had dropped from the canopy without sound. Lin Tianyu felt it before he saw it, a displacement in the air above him, and threw himself sideways on pure instinct. Claws raked the ground where he'd been standing. For parallel gouges in the dirt, he rolled to his feet. Activated Eye of Weakness immediately. The skill scanned. Found it. A patch of exposed skin beneath the left foreleg where the armor-like scales didn't quite meet. Small target. Fast creature. Okay. It lunged again. He didn't dodge backward this time. He stepped inside the attack. Closer. Not further. Letting the claws pass over his shoulder by centimeters, and drove the axe upward into the exposed patch with everything he had. Crack. Critical hit. Minus 187 HP. The stalker screamed. Recoiled. He didn't let it recover. Follow up. Axe. Same spot. Critical hit. Minus 203 HP. It collapsed. Lin Tianyu stood over it breathing hard. That had been close. Too close. Plus 120 EXP. Item drop. Stalker claw times 2. Shadow pelt times 1. He looked at the claw marks in the dirt again. For lines. Deep. Faster next time, he told himself, and kept moving. By hour 3, he had found a rhythm. Locate. Activate Eye of Weakness. Find the gap. Strike fast. Strike clean. Don't get greedy. Don't stay in one place too long. Level 7 came between a deepwood stalker and a creature the system called a ridgeback boar that had absolutely no business being that aggressive about personal space. Level up. Current level 7 up. Plus 5 free attribute points. He distributed without stopping moving. Strength plus 2. Agility plus 2. Vitality plus 1. He was starting to understand his own combat style. He wasn't a damage dealer. He wasn't a tank. He was something in between. Someone who survived by never being where the hit was going to land, and only striking when the math was in his favor. Calculated aggression. That was the only way he could describe it. World chat. Midday. Notifications drifted past while he walked. World announcement. Player Ironwall_J has become the first player to reach level 8. Title earned. Vanguard. World announcement. Player Sacred Lotus_M has fully mapped the Silver Mist Meadows. Title earned. Pathfinder. Dragon Pop_Cooks. Incredible. These people are on another level. Goblin Hunter 77. Ironwall is already 8. What is he eating? Dragon Pop_Cooks. Speaking of eating. Family Hot Pot Forever, are you there? Dragon Pop_Cooks. I have giant frog legs times 6 and no idea what to do with them. Dragon Pop_Cooks. You seem like someone who knows about cooking. Lin Tianyu glanced at the message mid-stride. Typed back one-handed. Family Hot Pot Forever. Fry them in oil if you have it. High heat. Don't overcrowd the pan. Season with whatever the shop sells under spice bundles. Dragon Pop_Cooks. Dragon Pop underscore cooks. You answered so fast. Dragon Pop underscore cooks. Are you okay? Family hot pot forever. Fine. Busy. Good luck with the frogs. He closed the chat. Focused. Ahead of him. The forest opened into a clearing. And in the center of that clearing, a collapsed stone structure. Ancient. Covered in moss and something dark that wasn't moss. And around it, creatures. Not one or two. Many. Deepwood Prowler, level 7, times 4. Armored Lurker, level 8, times 3. Level? The last panel flickered before the system could fully generate it. Lin Tianyu stopped at the tree line. Counted. 7 visible creatures. And whatever that last one was, still hidden somewhere inside the ruins. He looked at the structure more carefully. On the far side, a stone archway. Still standing. And beyond it, a path leading deeper into the territory. The only path forward. Of course, he said quietly. Of course it's guarded. He crouched at the tree line and spent 5 full minutes just watching movement patterns, patrol routes, which creatures wandered and which ones stayed still. The 4 prowlers moved, circling the ruins in loose rotation. The 3 armored lurkers didn't move at all, positioned at the archway like statues, and the unknown entity, he caught a glimpse of it through a gap in the ruins, larger than the others. Dark, moving slowly inside the structure like it was pacing, waiting. The prowlers first, he decided. Pick them off one at a time. Pull them away from the group. Don't let them call for each other. He had read enough novels to know that mob aggro was a real mechanic. He was betting Alcadia worked the same way. He picked up a stone, threw it at the furthest prowler. It hit. The prowler turned, looked toward the tree line, looked away. Lin Tianyu threw another stone. This time the prowler moved toward the tree line, alone. Good. The next 40 minutes were the most exhausting of his life. Prowler 1, pulled and killed cleanly. Prowler 2, pulled cleanly, but the fight lasted longer than expected. Took damage. Minus 34 HP. He ate one of his cooked mushrooms during the gap. Plus 15% HP restored. Flame and instinct passive triggered. Good skill, he noted. Prowler 3 almost went wrong. It caught his scent mid-pull and called out before he could stop it. Prowler 4 responded, 2 at once. Lin Tianyu didn't panic. He ran. Into the trees. Dense undergrowth. Tight gaps. The prowlers were fast but large. He was smaller. He used it. Ducking under branches they had to crash through. Changing direction sharply. Using the terrain like a tool until he had split them apart again. One following him left, one confused, and circling right. He doubled back. Killed the confused one first. Then the one still chasing him. Plus 120 EXP. Plus 120 EXP. Level up. Current level. 8. He leaned against a tree. Caught his breath. HP. 51 to 110. Half health. 3 armored lurkers and 1 unknown still waiting. He looked at his inventory. Cooked rabbit, meat times 1. Mushroom broth times 1. He ate both. Waited for his HP to climb. HP. 82 110ths. Better. He rolled his shoulder. Picked up his axe. 3 stationary targets. Eye of weakness. Don't overthink it. The armored lurkers were harder. Their shells were thick enough that Eye of Weakness found only one viable point. A seam running along the neck joint where the armor plates overlapped. Small target. Precise strike required. First lurker. He misjudged the angle. Axe glanced off the shell. Counterattack caught him across the ribs. Minus 28 HP. Okay. Different angle. Second attempt. He came from above. Dropped off a broken wall. Drove the axe straight down into the neck seam with his full body weight behind it. Crack. Critical hit. Minus 312 HP. First lurker down. Second and third. He had the angle now. Precise. Methodical. One at a time. By the time the third lurker dissolved into smoke, he was breathing so hard, he had to sit down. Plus 180 EXP times 3 HP. 34/110. But he stared at the archway. Beyond it, the path forward. But between him and that path, the ruins, and whatever was inside them had gone very still. It knew he was here. He could feel it. The same way you feel someone staring at the back of your head. A new system panel appeared. Field boss detected. Ruin-born sentinel. Level 9. An ancient guardian bound to this territory. Has not been defeated since Alcadia's initialization. Warning. High aggression. High intelligence. Adaptive combat behavior. Reward upon defeat. Lin Tianyu read the panel, looked at his HP. 34 out of 110. No healing items left. His axe handle was cracked down the middle. One more heavy impact, and it would snap. He looked at the ruins. The sentinel stepped out of the shadows. It was roughly humanoid, made of something between stone and bone. Taller than the wolves from night one. Slower, but the kind of slow that meant it didn't need to be fast. Its eyes found him immediately. Ruin-born sentinel, level 9. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Lin Tianyu did something that surprised even himself. He activated Eye of Weakness. The skill scanned and found nothing. No weakness. Not because it didn't have one, but because the skill wasn't strong enough yet to find it. Eye of Weakness. Insufficient level to detect target weakness. Lin Tianyu looked at the cracked axe in his hand, at his HP bar, at the sentinel that outleveled him by 1 and had apparently never been defeated since this world began. And he made a decision, not out of fear, out of the same logic that had made him walk away from the valley. I am level 8. I have 34 HP. My weapon is about to break. Eye of Weakness doesn't work on it yet, and it has never been defeated. He took one step back, then another. The sentinel watched him, didn't follow immediately, as if confused by the retreat. 2 more levels, Lin Tianyu said quietly. Then we talk. He turned and walked back into the forest. He found a defensible position half a kilometer back. A rocky outcrop with good sight lines and one entrance. He sat down, opened the system shop, spent 200 coins on a new iron axe and a stack of ingredients. Then he cooked, properly this time. Slowly, with attention, the smell that rose from the iron pot was almost embarrassingly good for a forest in the middle of a survival game. He ate methodically, watched his HP climb. HP, 110 out of 110. Full. He looked at the stat page. Level 8. For levels of attribute points he hadn't fully optimized yet, he redistributed carefully. Strength, enough to hit hard. Agility, enough to not get hit. Intelligence, high enough to keep thinking clearly under pressure. Then he stood up. Level 9 first. Sentinel second. Zone 2 after that. One step at a time. He had always been good at one step at a time. Dragon Papa _ Cooks. Family Hot Pot forever, still alive. Lin Tianyu was already moving back toward the ruins when the message came through. He typed without slowing down. Family Hot Pot forever, still here. Almost done with something. Dragon Papa _ Cooks. Be careful. Dragon Papa _ Cooks. Whatever it is, Lin Tianyu read it. Smiled once. Closed the chat. Level 9 came from 3 elite Deepwood stalkers that had apparently decided to travel in a pack. It was the hardest 20 minutes of his time in Arcadia. He took damage he couldn't fully avoid. He improvised constantly, using fallen trees as cover, luring them into tight spaces where their numbers became a disadvantage, striking the moment any of them overcommit. When it was over, he was sitting on the ground with HP at 41 to 120 and 3 claw marks across his left arm that the system hadn't fully registered yet. Level up? Current level, 9. He sat there for a moment, just breathing. Then he cooked again, 8. Waited. HP, 120, stood up, rolled his shoulder. The axe felt right in his hand. Eye of Weakness, he said quietly. Work this time. The sentinel was exactly where he'd left it. Still, patient, waiting inside the ruins like it had been waiting for centuries, and a few more hours meant nothing. It registered him the moment he stepped into the clearing. Those stone eyes found him. It remembered him. He could tell. Lin Tianyu activated Eye of Weakness immediately. The skill scanned. Slower than usual. Deeper. And then, weakness detected. Location, base of the spine. 3rd vertebral plate. Structural fault from ancient damage. Critical zone. Maximum damage on precision strike. There. The sentinel moved first this time. Fast. Faster than before. Like it had recalibrated. Adaptive combat behavior. The system warning hadn't been decorative. It came at him differently than the lurkers had. Smarter. Cutting off his angles. Pushing him toward the ruins wall where his movement would be limited. Lin Tianyu recognized the tactic. Because it was his tactic. You learn, he said. So do I. He let it push him toward the wall. Let it think it was winning. The moment it committed to the closing strike, that he dropped, flat to the ground. The sentinel's fist cratered the wall above him. Stone exploded outward. And in the half-second it took the sentinel to recover. Lin Tianyu was already moving. Up. Fast. Around its side. Behind it. Third vertebral plate. He drove the axe in with everything he had. Crack. The sound wasn't like the other kills. It was deeper. Final. Like something old breaking. Critical hit. Minus 892 HP. The sentinel staggered, turned, slower now. Something had changed in how it moved. Lin Tianyu didn't wait to find out what. He struck again. Same spot. Minus 744 HP. Again. Minus 801 HP. The sentinel fell to one knee, stone cracking down its torso like fault lines. Its eyes found him one last time, and then thought it dissolved. Not into black smoke like the wolves, into light, gold and white, and something that felt almost like relief. The clearing went silent. Ding. Field boss defeated. Ruinborn Sentinel. First clear. Plus 890 EXP. Level up. Current level. 10. Achievement unlocked. Solo Siege. Defeated a field boss alone at 2 levels below the recommended threshold. Reward. +2 to all base stats permanently. Rare drop. At Sentinel's core. Grade. Rared at a fragment of ancient will. Use. Unknown. And then. The notification he had been grinding toward for 2 days. Zone 1 complete. Access to Zone 2. Unlocked. Alcadia Central Territory now available. Warning. All player paths converge in Zone 2. Lin Tianyu stood in the silent clearing. The stone archway glowed faintly ahead of him. Zone 2. He read the last line again. All player paths converge in Zone 2. He thought about Dragon Papa_Cooks and his frog named Gerald, about Sacred Lotus _Scrim, who mapped an entire zone without anyone asking her to. He still hadn't connected the names. He still didn't know. But his feet were already moving toward the archway. One step at a time, he said quietly. He stepped through. Far above Alcadia. Level 10. 2 days. Field boss cleared solo. 2 levels under threshold. First clear on record. A pause. And the others. Ironwall_J hit Zone 2 access an hour ago. Sacred Lotus_M 30 minutes. Moonchild_Y currently en route. And the old man. The longest silence yet. He's been in Zone 2 since yesterday morning. He didn't go through Zone 1. Note. Then how? We don't know. Find out. We've tried. A pause that felt less like thinking and more like dread. They're all converging. Yes. Does the system know? The system flagged it 20 minutes ago. It's calling it a statistical impossibility. 5 players from the same family unit reaching Zone 2 within the same 48-hour window. What did it classify it as? An anomaly. Chapter 5. The Lamb Who Knew. Zone 2 wasn't a city. It was a stage, and everyone was performing. Lin Tianyu understood that within the first 30 seconds of stepping through the archway. Ironhold. Zone 2 Central Hub. Stone buildings half constructed. Markets already running. Torches lining dirt roads. The sound of hundreds of human voices hitting him all at once after 2 days of nothing but wind and wolf howls. Ironhold. Zone 2 Central Hub. Registered players. 847. Active guilds. 12. He stood at the entrance and watched people move. Smiling. Helpful. Warm. Too warm. In Zone 1, everyone had been panicking. Here, everyone was friendly. Something about that made the back of his neck prickle. He had read enough stories to know. Friendliness without reason was never free. He stepped into Ironhold. 3 players moving with the coordinated ease of people who had done this before. The one in front, tall, easy smile, the kind of face that had talked its way out of trouble its entire life. The 2 behind him, quiet, watchful, positioned just slightly too deliberately to be casual. Hey, the voice was warm, calibrated to make you feel immediately at ease. You just came through the Zone 1 archway. Yeah, Lin Tianyu said. Nice. What level? 10. Something shifted in the tall one's eyes. Micro-expression. Half a second. Gone before most people would catch it. Lin Tianyu caught it. Cool. I'm Kale. Silver Fawn Guild. We help new Zone 2 arrivals get oriented. Share resources, run dungeons together, the whole thing. He extended his hand. We're not one of those big predatory guilds. Small and honest. Lin Tianyu shook his hand, smiled, said nothing, and then thought a sound, internal. Like something clicking into place behind his eyes. New skill unlocked. Lie detector. Grade. Rare. Passive. Always active. Detects deliberate deception in real time. False statements. Red. True statements. White. Partial truths. Gray. The world didn't change, but it did. Lin Tianyu looked at Kale, replayed the last sentence in his mind. We're not one of those big predatory guilds. Small and honest. The words hung in the air between them. Read. Every single word. He looked at Kale's extended hand, then back up at his easy smile. Sounds great, Lin Tianyu said warmly. I'd love to join. The Silver Fang Guild Hall was too big for a guild Kale had described as small. 16 members inside when they arrived. Lin Tianyu counted them without appearing to count them. Levels ranging from 10 to 14. Gear that was too good for 3 days in Alcadia. Eyes that assessed him the moment he walked through the door. Not curious eyes. Calculating eyes. New recruit, Kale announced. Classless. Just hit 10. He looked at Lin Tianyu for his name. Family hot pot forever, Lin Tianyu said. Laughter rippled through the room. The kind of laugh that files someone away as non-threatening. Perfect. First thing, Kale said, turning back to him. Guild resource pool. Everyone contributes what they can, draws what they need. Keeps things equal. White. All drops from guild dungeon runs go into the pool and get split evenly. Red. We look out for each other here. Red. Lin Tianyu nodded slowly. That sounds really fair, he said. White. All drops from guild dungeon runs go into the pool and get split evenly. Red. We look out for each other here. Red. Lin Tianyu nodded slowly. That sounds really fair, he said. White. It did sound fair. It was a beautiful system. He was going to take it completely apart. What's in your inventory? Kale asked. Casual. Friendly. The real question underneath. What can we take from you? Lin Tianyu opened his inventory, showed them a version of it. Bread times 2. Water times 1. Basic wood. A few coins. He did not show them. The Sentinel's core. 847 coins in a hidden tab. 2 rare skills. An iron pot. Enough crafting materials to open his own market stall. Zone 1 was rough, he said simply. Kale's expression was perfectly sympathetic. Don't worry. We've got you. Red. The first dungeon run started an hour later. Ashvale Ruins. 6 members, including Lin Tianyu. Kale had described the drop rates as moderate. Red. Lin Tianyu had checked the raw player data channel before they left. Drop rates were exceptional. There was also a rare drop in the final chamber that Kale had not mentioned at all. Ashvale Fragment. Grade. Rare. Market value. 800 to 1,200 coins. He filed that away. Said nothing. And for the entire dungeon run, he performed, moving half a second slow. Missing strikes, he could have landed cleanly, looking slightly overwhelmed by creatures that didn't overwhelm him at all. Eye of Weakness, completely hidden. To Silver Fang, Family Hot Pot Forever was exactly what he looked like. A level 10 classless player who had gotten lucky surviving Zone 1 and had no idea what he was doing. Useful for buffs. Easy to manage. Not a threat. Good. The dungeon boss fell in the final chamber. Drops materialized. Kale stepped forward to collect. Standard procedure, he said. I log everything. Distribute tonight. White. He would log it. Red. He would not distribute it fairly. Lin Tianyu watched him collect the Ashvale fragment without mentioning it, and said, Hey, I can cook something. Post-dungeon restoration buffs. My contribution to the pool. Kale looked up. Genuine surprise this time. You have a cooking skill. Basic 1, Lin Tianyu said. Probably not as useful as combat skills. He shrugged like it was almost embarrassing. Kale's eyes did the calculation. Cooking buffs. Restoration. Useful for extended runs. Keep him cooking, keep him happy, keep him producing. That's actually perfect, Kale said. White. He meant every word. Lin Tianyu smiled. Happy to help. He set up his iron pot, cooked slowly, carefully. The smell that rose from it made 3 guild members drift over without being asked. And while they ate and relaxed and talked more than they meant to, Lin Tianyu listened to everything. Day 2 with Silver Fang, 3rd dungeon run. Lin Tianyu had quietly accumulated. Personal coins, 2, 140. Hidden drops. Ashvale Fragment times 2, Rare Herb Bundle times 1, Stalker Essence times 3. Intelligence, complete maps of 3 dungeons. Guild resource storage location. Names and levels of every core member versus outer shell member. Kale's actual drop redistribution formula. He had contributed to the guild pool. Bread times 2. Basic would times 5. 3 cooked meals. The meals were real contributions. He didn't cheat on those. Everything else was his. He was sitting outside the guild hall cooking the post-run meal when Kale sat down beside him, closer than usual. Something in his posture had shifted. Still friendly. Still warm. But the calibration was different. "You're settling in well," Kale said. Gray. Observation. Not compliment. Not threat. Somewhere between. "This place is easier with people around," Lin Tianyu said. White. He meant it. "You're a careful guy," Kale said. Gray. "I try to be," Lin Tianyu said. Smart. Zone 2 has a lot of people who aren't what they seem. Gray. "I've noticed," Lin Tianyu said pleasantly. Kale was quiet for a moment, watching the fire. "Your inventory," he said. Casual. Conversational. Too casual. "The first day you showed me, bread and water and basic materials." "Yeah," Lin Tianyu said. "But your cooking skill requires ingredients. Duh. And your buffs are stronger than basic skill level produces." The fire crackled. Lin Tianyu stirred the pot. Did not look up. His heart rate stayed completely even. "I had some stuff I didn't think was worth mentioning," he said. "Herbs and things. Didn't seem relevant to the pool." Kale looked at him. Lin Tianyu looked back. Calm. Open. Slightly confused why this was a conversation. 5 seconds. 10. Kale smiled. "Fair enough," he said. Red. It was not fair enough. He didn't believe it. But he also couldn't prove anything. And Lin Tianyu had given him nothing to grip. "The Iron Veil Vault tomorrow," Kale said, standing. "Harder dungeon. Better drops. We need you on cooking duty." "I'll be there," Lin Tianyu said. Kale walked back inside. Lin Tianyu stared at the pot. Exhaled once. That had been close. Kale was smarter than he'd initially calculated. He had maybe one more dungeon run before the man figured out that family hot pot forever was not what he appeared to be. "I need to move faster," he thought. He looked at the Sentinel's core in his hidden inventory. Use. Unknown. He had been waiting to figure out what it did. He couldn't wait anymore. He used the Sentinel's core at midnight. Alone in his room. Held it in his palm and waited. For 30 seconds, nothing. Then, the core dissolved into light that went directly into his chest. And the world lurched, like a film skipping forward. He was standing in the guild hall. Kale in front of him. 3 other members flanking. Expressions that were no longer friendly. "We know what you've been doing," Kale said. "Empty your real inventory." It lasted 5 seconds. Then, he was back in his room, heart slamming, staring at his hands. New skill unlocked. Future sight. Grade. Legendary. Active. 60-second cooldown. See 5 seconds into the most probable future. Warning, the future is not fixed. It can be changed. Lin Tianyu sat completely still. Legendary. Not rare. Legendary. From a drop that the system had labeled use. Unknown. He looked at the vision again. Kale. 3 members. Confrontation. Tomorrow. Iron Veil Vault. They weren't taking him to run a dungeon. They were taking him somewhere isolated to shake him down. He had pushed too far, moved too fast, and Kale had figured out enough. Most people, finding this out the night before, would panic, would leave the guild immediately, would run. Lin Tianyu set the core fragment down. Opened his stat page. Level 10. Skills. Eye of Weakness. Rare. Flame and Instinct. Uncommon. Lie Detector. Rare. Future Sight. Legendary. He looked at the ceiling and smiled. Not the careful, controlled smile he'd been wearing for 2 days. A real one. "They think they're setting a trap," he thought quietly. "They have no idea they just handed me the blueprint." He closed his eyes, far above Arcadia. Future Sight. Legendary grade. From a Sentinel's core. The probability of that drop was don't. But I said don't. Silence. He's going to walk into their trap tomorrow. Yes, knowing exactly what it is. Yes, and the father, still refusing every guild. Still waiting. Does he know his son is in Silver Fong? No. Then why is he waiting in the exact geographic center of the hub? The longest pause yet. We don't know. Chapter 6. The Girl in the Boss Chamber. The day after, the guild decided to conquer a dungeon that had no name in the system, just coordinates, and a single line of description. Restricted zone, authorized parties only. Kale had gotten the access key from somewhere. he didn't explain. Lin Tianyu hadn't asked. He had simply followed. 12 Silver Fang members total. Full team. Everyone geared. Whatever was inside. Kale wanted numbers. That alone told Lin Tianyu something. Room 1. The first chamber was wide and dark, stone floor. High ceiling. The smell of something ancient and wet. Shadow amalgams. Level 14. 4 of them. Moving in perfect coordination like they shared one mind. The fight was immediate and brutal. Lin Tianyu performed his role. Staying back. Striking when safe. Looking slightly overwhelmed. But one amalgam broke through the front line and came directly at him. He activated Future Sight. 5 seconds forward. Claws. His left shoulder. Deep. Back. He stepped right instead of left. The claws passed through empty air. He countered. Eye of Weakness already active. Found the gap between the creature's shifting shadows and struck clean. Critical hit. The amalgam dissolved. But something had shifted during that activation. Like a muscle pushed past its limit and discovering it had more than it thought. Future Sight. Level 2. See 30 seconds into the most probable future. Cooldown. 45 seconds. Lin Tianyu exhaled. There it is. Room 2.3 Ironbound Titans. Level 15. The fight lasted 20 minutes. 2 Silver Fang members went down. Lin Tianyu stopped performing halfway through. Not because he chose to. Because there was no choice. A Titan cornered 3 members against the wall, and he was the only one with the angle. He activated Future Sight. 30 seconds this time. Saw the wall collapse. Saw all 3 buried. Moved. Not like a weakling. Like himself. Eye of Weakness on the Titan's knee joint. 2 strikes. Precise. The creature buckled. The 3 members scrambled free. Kale saw it. Lin Tianyu felt the man's eyes on him, recalibrating. Again. But the Titan wasn't finished. It turned. Raised its arm. Lin Tianyu pushed Future Sight past its limit. 0.30 seconds wasn't enough. He needed more. Future Sight. Level 3. See 1 hour into the most probable future. Cooldown. 10 minutes. The Titan's arm came down. Lin Tianyu was already gone. He stood between the second and third chambers. Controlled his breathing. Future Sight had shown him 1 hour's forward. He had looked. He wished he hadn't. He looked anyway. He stood very still for a long moment. Then walked toward the third door. Said nothing. Room 3. They heard noise before Kale opened the door. Combat sounds. Spells. Someone shouting coordinates. Kale held up a fist. Stop. They listened. Another guild was already inside. Kale pushed the door open slowly. The boss chamber was cathedral-sized, lit by something that came from the walls themselves. A soft, breathing light. And in the center, a girl. She looked 12 years old, small, still, wearing clothes that didn't belong to any era Lin Tianyu recognized. Her hair was dark and long, and her eyes were wrong, not monstrous, just ancient. Centuries sitting behind the face of a child. Around her, 8 players from another guild. Circling, weapons drawn. She wasn't fighting. She was just standing there, watching them the way you watch rain. They're surrounding a kid. Someone in Silver Fang muttered. Kale's expression hardened. He stepped forward. Hey, the other guild turned. Back off, Kale said. Whatever this is, she's the quest target. The other guild's leader said flatly. The monster. We found her first. She's a child. She's not. Kale looked at the girl. The girl looked back at him. Calm. Patient. Like she had been through this conversation before. Many times. We're not leaving, Kale said. Split the reward, or we take it all. 20 players total now. Surrounding her. The girl's eyes moved slowly across the room. Passed over Lin Tianyu. Stopped. 1 second. 2. Moved on. Lin Tianyu had already positioned himself near the far pillar. Good sight lines. Clear path to the wall. She doesn't know, he thought. Good. I'm sorry, the girl said. Her voice was soft, genuinely apologetic. You seem like mostly decent people. Then the light in the walls changed. Lin Tianyu was already behind the pillar. He had seen this 1 hour ago. He pressed his back against the stone, closed his eyes, listened. The sounds lasted 38 seconds. He counted. Then silence. The kind that meant it was over. He stayed behind the pillar, counted to 5, stepped out, 20 players, all down. Kale among them. Face turned toward the ceiling. The careful, dangerous intelligence behind his eyes finally, completely still. The girl stood exactly where she had been. Not a mark on her. She was looking at the far wall. Then her head turned, and she saw Lin Tianyu, still standing, still breathing. She looked at him for a long time. You're still alive. I run fast, he said. She studied him, the way she had studied the room before deciding. No, she said quietly. You knew. Lin Tianyu said nothing. She looked at the players around her, at Kale, back at Lin Tianyu. You knew and you said nothing. Would it have changed anything? A pause. No, she admitted. Then I saved myself the energy. She tilted her head, those ancient eyes and that young face. What are you? She said. A player. Level 12. No class. That's not what I asked. I know. The chamber breathed around them. You're not afraid, she said. Should I be? She looked at 20 players on the ground. Most people would say yes. Most people didn't see this coming 2 hours ago. Something shifted in her expression, recognition, like a piece she had been missing for a very long time. Sit down, she said. She lowered herself to the floor cross-legged, a child settling in for a story, except nothing about her was a child. Lin Tianyu sat across from her. My name is Shun, she said, and I am going to tell you something that no player in Alcadia has ever been told. She looked up at him. This world is not a game. The light in the walls pulsed slowly. Lin Tianyu waited. The people who built the system, Shin said. The ones you think of as administrators, creators, they were human once. They came here exactly the way you did. No warning, no explanation, just darkness and then a blinking screen. That was 600 years ago. They found the gate, she continued, the way back to their world. But the gate had a price. One person stays. Forever. They couldn't choose, she said quietly. None of them could look at the others and say, you stay? Go home without me. So they all stayed. And over 600 years, they forgot they were ever human. They became the system. Lin Tianyu was very still. The monsters, he said. Also them, Shin said softly. The ones who lost themselves completely, who let go of everything they were. And you? She met his eyes. I remember, she said. I have always remembered. 247 years, he said. Yes, alone. Yes. Lin Tianyu looked at this child who was older than any living person on Earth, who had watched 600 years of players arrive and struggle and die and never find the gate. Or find it and be unable to pay. The gate, he said. Where is it? I'll show you, Shin said. Why? She looked at him for a long moment. Because you're the first person in 200 years who sat down instead of running. A pause. And because your family is looking for you. His chest tightened. You know where they are. I know every corner of this world, she said simply. I have had 247 years to learn it. She stood up, brushed off her ancient clothes, extended a small hand. Come, she said. We have work to do before you're ready for the gate. And before you find them, those impossible eyes met his. You need to be strong enough to pay the price. Lin Tianyu looked at her hand, at the chamber around them, at 20 players who had come in looking for a monster. He took her hand. Let's go. Far above Alcadia. She moved. Silence. Shin hasn't left that dungeon in 40 years. She's moving now. Because of him. Because of all of them. The second voice said quietly. A long pause. She knows about the gate. She's always known. Then she knows what it costs. Yes, and she's going anyway. Yes. The first voice went very quiet. She's going to try to find a way so none of them have to stay. Is there a way? The longest silence yet. For 600 years. There wasn't. But this family. Yes, this family is different. Chapter 7. 247 Years of Directions. Shun walked fast for someone with legs that short. Lin Tianyu noticed this within the first 5 minutes outside the dungeon. She moved through Alcadia like someone who had memorized every stone, every root, every shift in the wind over 2.5 centuries. No hesitation, no map, no system panel open. Just forward, always forward. You're fast, he said. You're slow, she said. You're slow, she said. I have longer legs than you. Yes, she said. And yet, she didn't look back. Lin Tianyu looked down at his legs, walked faster. She took him out of iron hold through a gap in the eastern wall that didn't exist on any map. Not a door, not an archway. Just a space between two stones where the mortar had never quite set. How did you find this? I watched them build this city, she said. Ironhold has only been active for 3 days. This is the 4th time it's been built, she said simply. The system resets the structures. The gaps stay. Lin Tianyu filed that away. Said nothing. Outside the wall, the terrain changed immediately, less worn, less traveled. The kind of ground that hadn't seen a footprint in a very long time. Trees taller here, darker, light coming through in narrow columns like something was rationing it. Where are we going, he asked. The Ashvale depths, she said. Below the ruins you already cleared. There's a below. There's always a below, she said. The system shows players what they're ready for. Everything else stays hidden. And you can access all of it. I don't use the system, she said. I never have. Lin Tianyu looked at her sideways, a 12-year-old girl, who was not 12, walking through an ancient forest with her hands folded behind her back like a professor between lectures. What's in the depths? Your next weapon, she said. The axe you're carrying has 3 durability points remaining. He checked his inventory. 3 durability points. He hadn't noticed. How did you? I've been watching you since you entered Ironhold, she said. That's unsettling. You were the only player who walked into a city full of smiling strangers and immediately understood that something was wrong, she said. That was worth watching. Lin Tianyu considered this. You watched me dismantle Silver Fong. Yes. And you said nothing. You didn't need my help, she said. Players who don't need help are rare. I preferred to observe. For how long were you planning to just observe? She was quiet for a moment. Until the dungeon, she admitted. The quest to eliminate me was always going to come eventually. It always does. How many times has it happened? 11, she said. In 247 years. And you always survived. Yes, but you never found someone to tell. She stopped walking, just for a second, then continued. No, she said quietly. I never did. The Ashvale Depths entrance was a crack in the earth behind a waterfall Lin Tianyu hadn't known existed. The water was cold. The passage beyond it was narrow. Shin walked through without ducking. Lin Tianyu had to turn sideways. 247 years, he muttered. And you never grew. I grew for the first 30, she said from ahead. Then I stopped. Does that? Yes, she said flatly. It does. He shut up. The depths were nothing like the ruins above, where the Ashvale ruins had been crumbling and moss-covered and mapped. The depths were alive. Crystal formations growing from the walls. Underground rivers moving somewhere below their feet. Creatures that had no system panel, no level indicator, no name. Things the system hadn't classified because no player had ever reached them. The system can't see down here, Lin Tianyu said. The system sees everything, Shin said. It simply doesn't update what it hasn't been asked about. So these creatures are genuinely unknown, she said. Even to the system. That means Eye of Weakness won't work. Note. And Future Sight. Future Sight shows probability, she said. Unknown creatures have unknown behavior. The margin of error increases significantly. Lin Tianyu looked at the darkness ahead. So I'm fighting blind. You're fighting with instinct, she corrected. There's a difference. Is there? Yes, she said. Skills are borrowed knowledge. Instinct is yours. She looked up at him. You survived the first night without skills. You survived Silver Fong without fighting. You survived my dungeon without either. I hid behind a pillar. You identified the safest position in an unknown situation in under 4 seconds, she said. That's not hiding. That's reading a room. Lin Tianyu said nothing. She turned back toward the darkness. Come, she said. Your weapon is this way. The first unknown creature found them 20 minutes in. It had no shape he could easily describe. Fluid. Dark. Moving like water that had decided to become something dangerous. No system panel appeared above it. No level indicator. No weakness marker. Just a thing in the dark that wanted him gone. Lin Tianyu activated Future Sight. The vision came back blurry. Shin had been right. Unknown behavior meant uncertain futures. He caught fragments. Flashes. Nothing clean. Don't rely on the skill, Shin said from behind him. Calm. Like this was a classroom. Watch it move. I am watching. No. You're waiting for the system to tell you something. Watch. The creature. He stopped waiting. Watched. The thing moved like water, which meant it followed the path of least resistance. Which meant it would always take the wider angle. which meant he stepped left. It surged right, exactly where he had been. He swung. Connected. The creature recoiled. Not a critical hit. No system confirmation. Just impact. Real and immediate and entirely his. Better, Shin said. The fight lasted 4 minutes. Messy. Improvised. Nothing like the clean precision of Eye of Weakness. But at the end of it, the creature dissolved into something that wasn't loot. Just light. Quiet and brief. Like a small relief. They don't drop items, Lin Tianyu said. No, Shin said. But they give something else. He checked his stats. Nothing had changed numerically, but something felt different. In his hands. In the way he was standing. What was that, he said. Experience that the system can't measure, she said. The kind that stays. They went deeper. 3 more creatures. Each different. Each requiring him to observe first and react second instead of the other way around. By the 4th one, he stopped activating future sight at all. Just watched. Just moved. When it was over, Shun said nothing. But she walked slightly closer to him than before. He noticed, said nothing. The weapon was at the bottom of the depths in a chamber that the waterfall above had been slowly carving for centuries. It was embedded in the stone floor, not dramatically, not surrounded by light or ancient inscriptions, just a sword, sitting in rock, waiting with the patience of something that had nowhere else to be. Unknown item. Insufficient player level to identify. Lin Tianyu stared at it. Pull it out, Shin said. It says insufficient level. The system says insufficient level, she said. Pull it out. He gripped the handle. Pulled. It came free immediately. No resistance. Like it had been waiting specifically for this moment. The system flickered, struggled. Then, item identified. Ashen Fong. Grade. Legendary. A blade that remembers every hand that held it. Damage scales with bearer's instinct, not statistics. Current power. Locked. Bearer must prove worthy in combat. Lin Tianyu looked at the blade. Then, at Shun. Scales with instinct. He said. Yes, she said. Not statistics. Note. So everything I just learned down here was not a coincidence, she said simply. He looked at her. This child. This ancient, impossible child who had been alone for 247 years and had spent the last several hours teaching him without once calling it teaching. You planned this, he said. I prepared, she said. There's a difference. Is there? Yes, she said. Planning assumes you know the outcome. I only knew the path. She turned toward the exit. Come. We've spent enough time underground. Shun. She stopped, didn't turn around. Thank you, he said, a pause, longer than her pauses usually were. Don't thank me yet, she said quietly. The gate still has a price. I know. And your family. I know, he said again. She was quiet for a moment. You're not afraid of the price. I'm afraid of it, he said honestly. I just don't think fear is a reason to stop. Another pause. When she started walking again, her steps were slightly slower, like something in her had eased, just slightly. Your grandfather, she said as they climbed back toward the light. He's been in Zone 3 since yesterday. Lin Tianyu stopped. Zone 3 doesn't open until level 20. Yes, she said. I'm level 12. Yes. How is he in Zone 3? Shin glanced back at him. Something in her ancient eyes that might have been amusement. I've been watching this world for 247 years, she said. I have seen perhaps 30 players who truly frightened me. Your grandfather is one of them. Duh. He didn't go through Zone 2 either, did he? He walked through the zone boundary, she said. The system tried to stop him. What happened? The system, she said carefully, decided not to repeat the attempt. Lin Tianyu stared at her, then laughed, quietly, genuinely, for the first time since Alcadia began. That sounds exactly like him, he said. Shin watched him laugh. Something crossed her face, brief, almost invisible, but Lin Tianyu caught it, not with future sight, just with eyes that had been paying attention. She looked, for just a moment, like a child. Not the ancient thing wearing a child's face, just a child. Watching someone laugh and remembering what that felt like. He didn't say anything, just fell back into step beside her, and they walked back toward the light together. World chat. Evening. Dragon Pop _cooks. Good evening, everyone. Dragon Pop _cooks. Still here. Day 4. Dragon Pop _cooks. I made soup today. Real soup. With actual vegetables. Dragon Pop _cooks. I think I might be okay. Dragon Pop underscore cooks. Family hot pot forever. You there? Lin Tianyu read the message as they emerged from behind the waterfall into the evening air, typed back with one hand. Family hot pot forever. Still here. Had a productive day? Dragon Pop underscore cooks. Good. Dragon Pop underscore cooks. Be careful tonight. Dragon Pop underscore cooks. Something feels like it's changing. Lin Tianyu looked at the message, then at Shun walking beside him, then at the ashen fong in his hand. Family hot pot forever. I think you're right. He closed the chat. Shin glanced at his expression. Someone you know? She said. A stranger, he said. A pause. Maybe. Shin looked at him for a moment longer than necessary, then looked away. Your mother, she said. She's 3 hours northeast of here. And my sister, 2 hours east. Moving fast. And my father? Shin was quiet for exactly 1 second. Ironhold, she said. Central Market. He's been there since this morning. Doing what? Cooking, she said. And waiting. Lin Tianyu stopped walking, looked at the direction of Ironhold. 3 hours northeast. 2 hours east. And Ironhold. Right there. Behind them. His father. In the Central Market. Cooking and waiting. He stood very still. Not yet, Shin said quietly. He looked at her. You're not ready yet, she said. Not for the gate. If you go back now, you stop moving forward. My family is alive, she said. All of them. All of them are fighting and surviving and moving. Your mother mapped an entire zone without being asked. Your sister's spirit is the first mythic grade in Alcadia's history. Your father tanked a level 10 elite yesterday with a cooking pan and 0 defensive skills. Lin Tianyu stared at her. A level 10 elite. He said, and I'm quoting, this is fine while it was happening. That's not fine. No, Shin agreed. It was not fine. And my grandfather is in Zone 3 doing things I have chosen not to look at directly, she said. For my own peace of mind. Lin Tianyu laughed again, shorter this time, but real. They're okay, he said. Not a question. They're okay, Shin confirmed. He exhaled, looked at the ashen fong in his hand, at the path ahead. How many more levels? He said. 8, she said. You need level 20 for the gate's location. And then, she said, the hard part. She started walking again. Lin Tianyu followed. The evening light of Arcadia stretched long and gold across the terrain ahead. Somewhere behind him, his father's soup. Somewhere ahead, the gate. Somewhere in between. Whatever it was going to cost. Shun, he said. Amount. The price. Yes, you know what it is. Yes, and you're helping me anyway. She walked 3 more steps before answering. I've been in this world for 247 years, she said. I have watched families arrive and search and fail and stay. I have watched people choose between themselves and each other, and I have watched what it does to both. She stopped, looked up at the sky. Arcadia's stars were beginning to appear, different from Earth's, arranged in patterns that didn't belong to any constellation he knew. I think, she said quietly, that some families are worth betting on. She looked at him. I am betting on yours. Lin Tianyu looked at this child who was older than anyone he had ever known, who had been alone for 247 years, who had chosen, after all of that, to walk beside someone she had known for less than a day. We'll make it worth it, he said. She studied him for a long moment. I know, she said, and for the first time since they had met, she smiled. Come, she said. We camp here tonight. Tomorrow we find the first of your family. I thought you said I wasn't ready. You weren't ready an hour ago, she said simply. People change quickly when they have a reason. She sat down beside a tree and folded her hands in her lap. Ancient. Patient. Cook something, she said. I want to see what the skill looks like when you're not performing for anyone. Lin Tianyu looked at her, then at his iron pot, then at the ingredients in his inventory. He sat down, set up the fire. The fire crackled softly between them. Lin Tianyu stared into the flames, feeling something strange settle in his chest. Not relief, not hope, something quieter, something more dangerous. For the first time since arriving in Alcadia, finding his family no longer felt impossible. Shin set the empty bowl aside. Sleep, she said. And tomorrow. She looked toward the dark horizon stretching beyond the trees. Tomorrow, she answered. We stopped searching blindly. Far above Arcadia. She's eating. Silence. Shun is eating a player's cooking. Yes. A very long pause. She's going to help them find a way. Yes. All of them go home. That's what she's trying to do. And if she can't, the second voice didn't answer immediately. Then she'll make sure the price falls on someone who chooses it freely. Duh. Is there someone in that family who would? The longest silence of all. Yes, the second voice said quietly. There is. And somewhere in Alcadia, someone stopped walking. Chapter 8. Found. She felt him before she saw him. That was the only way Li Mei could describe it later. She had been walking northeast for 3 hours. Alone. Mapping terrain, cataloging herbs, moving with the quiet efficiency of someone who had decided that panic was a luxury she couldn't afford. And then, she stopped. Mid-step. For no reason the system could have explained. Just a feeling. The kind that lived below thought. Below logic. The kind that 30 years of being someone's mother had carved permanently into her chest. She turned around. Li Jianhong was running. Not elegantly. He had never done anything elegantly in his life, and he wasn't about to start now. He ran the way he did everything. Completely, without reservation, with total disregard for how it looked. Frying pan clanging at his belt. Torn clothes. Mud on both knees from a fight. He had clearly not won gracefully. He crested the hill and stopped. Saw her, standing in the middle of a field of silver grass, looking directly at him. Like she had known exactly where to turn. He stood there breathing hard. She stood there not moving. 30 years of marriage between them. 30 years of burned hot pot. 5 a.m. lectures. A son who read too late. A daughter who collected insects. 1,000 ordinary days neither of them had ever imagined losing. And a life that had been imperfect and entirely theirs. Jianhong, she said. That was all, because she had spent 4 days imagining what she would say if she ever saw him again. And now that he was here, she couldn't remember any of it. He crossed the field, and Li Mei, who had fought 30 shadow creatures alone on the first night without her hands shaking. Let them shake now. Just for a moment. Just for him. I named a frog, he said into her hair. I know, she said. I saw the chat. His name was Gerald. I know. I don't know why I did that. Jianhong. Yes. Stop talking. He stopped talking. They stood in the silver field while Alcadia moved around them, and neither of them let go. 2 hours east. Daliyu found her brother in the middle of a sentence. She had been sitting on top of a ruined watchtower with her legs dangling over the edge, watching her spirit disappear into the tree line when the footsteps reached her. 2 sets. One light and quick. One heavier. She looked down. A boy her brother's age walking out of the trees. And beside him, a child. He looked up at exactly the same moment. Their eyes met. Liu made a sound that was completely undignified. Tianyu. She was off the tower before she finished saying his name. 6-meter drop. She didn't care. She landed, rolled, came up running and hit her brother at full speed with everything she had. I knew you were here. I kept telling the spirit, and it kept flying in circles, and I thought it was broken. Don't you me you were supposed to find me first, you're the oldest. I didn't know where you were. I was east. I was always east. That is not helpful information. It is extremely helpful information. Lin Tianyu held his sister, arms tight, eyes closed. She was shaking slightly, so was he. You're okay, he said. Of course I'm okay, she said into his shoulder. I'm always okay. I was really scared, she admitted. Quietly. The first night. I was so scared. Me too. You're not supposed to say that. Why not? Because you're the calm one. I can be calm and scared at the same time. She pulled back, checked him over the way their mother always did. You look terrible. I've been told. Her eyes dropped to the ashen fong at his side, went wide. Is that legendary grade? Yes. How? Long story. Tell me. Later. She opened her mouth, then noticed Shun, standing 3 steps back with her hands folded behind her and her ancient eyes watching them with something that wasn't quite an expression, but wasn't quite not one either. The spirit drifted down from somewhere above and landed directly on Shun's head. Shin did not react. The spirit seemed satisfied. Who's the kid? Liu said. Not a kid, Lin Tianyu said. She looks like a kid. 247 years old. Liu stared at Shun. Shin looked back. Your spirit, Shin said, is the most interesting thing in this world. Liu blinked, then looked at her spirit sitting on this ancient child's head, then back at Lin Tianyu. I like her, she decided. You just met her. I make fast decisions. That's not always a good thing. It's always worked for me. The tower you just jumped off. That worked out fine. That was 6 meters. Can you? He stopped. She grabbed his arm. Her grip tighter than it needed to be, like she was making sure he was real. Mom and Dad, she said. Are they? They're okay, he said. Both of them. Something released in her face. And grandfather? Lin Tianyu glanced at Shun. Shin said nothing. Grandfather, he said carefully, is doing things that make a 247-year-old entity uncomfortable. So completely fine, Liu translated. Completely fine. She exhaled, took one more second to just hold his arm, then straightened, wiped her face with the back of her hand. Okay, she said. Let's go find them. The silver field. Li Jianhong and Li Mei standing together when Lin Tianyu and Liu broke through the tree line. Liu saw them first. She stopped running, just for a second, just to look. Her parents. Standing in silver grass. Her father's frying pan still clanging at his belt. Her mother's hand on his arm, alive. Both of them. Real? Then she started running again. Faster. Dad. Li Jianhong turned and caught her without staggering. Barely. Li Mei looked over Li Yu's head. At Lin Tianyu. Standing at the edge of the field. Not running. Just standing. Looking at all of them. With an expression she recognized. The same one he'd had at 7 years old when he'd gotten lost in the shopping mall for 3 hours, and they'd found him sitting calmly by the information desk because he'd decided panicking wouldn't help. Relief so profound it had nowhere to go. So it just stayed. Quietly. Behind his eyes, she crossed the field to him. Didn't say anything. Just put her hand on his face the way she had when he was small. He closed his eyes. I'm okay, Mom. I know, she said. I had a plan the whole time. I know that too. I wasn't scared. Tianyu, I was a little scared. I know, she said softly. Me too. He opened his eyes, 4 of them. In a silver field in a world that wasn't theirs. Alive. Together. Exactly as they should be. Then Li Jianhong noticed Shun, standing at the tree line. Watching them with those impossible eyes, he looked at her for a moment. She looked back. Who's this? He said. A friend, Lin Tianyu said. Li Jianhong studied her. The way he studied everything, quietly, carefully, without rushing. Then he nodded once. The nod that meant, good enough for now. Are you hungry? He said to Shun. Shun blinked, the first genuine surprise Lin Tianyu had seen on her face. I ate recently, she said. That's not what I asked, Li Jianhong said. A pause. Yes, she said quietly. Good, he said. I'll cook. Dad, Lin Tianyu said carefully. Last time you cooked. That was on Earth, Li Jianhong said with complete dignity. I've improved. Have you though? I have a frying pan and 4 days of survival experience. That's not. I named a frog and lived to tell the story. That has nothing to do with cooking. Family hot pot forever, Li Jianhong said. Lin Tianyu stopped, stared at his father. You knew? Li Jianhong looked at him. Something in his eyes that had been waiting a long time to say what it said next. Family hot pot forever. He smiled. There was only one idiot in the world who would choose that. You never said anything. Neither did you. I didn't know it was you. Dragon Pop_Cooks, his father said. Gerald the Frog. An accountant who doesn't like frogs. Duh. I thought you'd figure it out eventually, Li Jianhong said. Lin Tianyu stared at his father. This man. This accountant who burned water and named his enemies and checked on strangers every morning in the world chat. Who had known. The whole time, and waited, and said, every single night, that be careful, still here, rest well. Lin Tianyu sat down in the silver grass, not because his legs gave out, just because he needed a moment. Liu sat beside him immediately. He knew, she said. He knew. Lin Tianyu confirmed. Dad, she said, turning to Li Jianhong. That's either really smart or really mean. It's called patience, Li Jianhong said. It's called being difficult, Li Mei said. Those aren't mutually exclusive. Jianhong. Yes, dear. Li Mei looked at him for exactly 1 second. He sat down too. They made camp there, in the silver field. 5 of them now, 4 of the family and 1 ancient child sitting slightly apart with a mythic spirit asleep on her lap. Li Jianhong cooked. It was, genuinely, better than before. Not good, but better. Lin Tianyu ate it without comment. Liu said this is actually not bad. which from her was high praise. Li Mei improved it quietly by adding herbs she had collected over 4 days of mapping zones. And Shen ate. Slowly, carefully, like she was paying attention to every part of it. When Li Jianhong asked if she wanted more, she said yes before he finished the question. He gave her his portion. She looked at the bowl, then at him. You should eat, she said. I ate earlier, he said. Red. Lin Tianyu thought automatically, but he said nothing, because some lies were kindness, and his lie detector had never been designed to touch those. Later, when Li Yu was asleep against his shoulder and his parents were talking quietly by the fire, Lin Tianyu looked at Shen. She was looking at the stars. 247 years, he said quietly. Yes, and you never had this. She didn't answer immediately. I had things, she said finally. Moments. People who were kind before they moved on. But not this. No, she said. Not this. He looked at his family, his father's voice low and warm, his mother's hand on his father's arm, the fire between them. We're going to find a way, he said, for everyone to go home. You don't know that. No, he said, but I'm going to try. Shen looked at him, those ancient eyes. Your grandfather, she said quietly. He's coming south. From Zone 3. Yes. What? Because, she said, he always knew where you were. Lin Tianyu stared at her. Shen looked at the fire. Your grandfather never searched for you. Lin Tianyu frowned. What? Because he never lost you, she said again. All of you. From the beginning. Then why didn't he? Because Li Guowei, Shen said, decided that his family needed to find their own strength before they found each other. He watched all of you. Every day. And said nothing. And said nothing. Lin Tianyu looked at the fire, at his father who had waited in the center of Ironhold, at his mother who had walked northeast without stopping, at his sister asleep on his shoulder, at an old man somewhere in Zone 3 who had known exactly where his family was since day one and had chosen to let them grow. This family, he said quietly. Yes, Shen said. We're all insane. Yes, she said, and smiled. Far above Alcadia. They're together. 4 of them. And Shen. A pause. She's smiling. Silence. The old man is moving south. Yes, tomorrow there'll be 5. Yes, and then, the second voice said, they go for the gate. And the price. The fire in the silver field crackled below them. 5 figures around it. One ancient child finally not alone. Someone in that family, the first voice said slowly, is going to try to pay it. Which one? That's what I'm afraid of, the first voice said. Which one? The silence lasted a very long time. Finally, that's the problem. The fire burned below, 5 people, 1 family. I don't think any of them will allow the others to pay. Chapter 9. The last one. Dawn. Sound. Just light cutting through silver grass. And then, pressure. The kind that has no source. Lin Tianyu opened his eyes. Li Yu was already awake beside him. Then Li Jianhong. Then Li Mei. No one spoke. They all looked north. At the same time, without deciding to, the grass moved. One figure, straight back. White hair. The expression of a man who had decided long ago that the world owed him nothing and had made peace with it. Li Guowei walked into the clearing like he had always been heading here. He stopped. They stared, because after monsters, after worlds, after impossible things, seeing Li Guowei standing there somehow felt like the least believable thing of all. His clothes were torn. His left sleeve was gone. There was dried blood on his hands, and somehow, he still looked like the calmest person there. You all look terrible. Li Yu was on her feet in 1 second. She stopped 3 steps away from him. Li Guowei looked at her. She looked back. Her jaw worked. She had been preparing things to say for days. She forgot all of them. You knew, she said. Yes, where we were. Yes, the whole time. Yes, and you didn't, note. Why? Because, he said simply. You didn't need me to. Li Yu stared at him. Her eyes were bright. She crossed the 3 steps and put her forehead against his shoulder, said nothing. He put 1 hand on her head, said nothing either. He sat with them. Not at the edge, among them. Like the space had always been his. Lin Tianyu watched his grandfather look at each of them in turn. The look he only used 3 times before. The day Li Yu was born, his grandmother's funeral. The morning Lin Tianyu left for university. The look of a man storing something away, in case later never came. Grandfather. Li Guowei looked at him. Zone 3, Lin Tianyu said, without going through Zone 2. The boundary seemed optional. The system tried to stop you. It reconsidered. Duh. What did you see there? A pause. People, Li Guowei said. Who forgot they were? The fire crackled. No one spoke. He looked at Shun. She looked back. Two old things recognizing each other across a fire. 247 years, Li Guowei said. Long time alone. Yes. He nodded once. Like that was enough? Like he understood everything that needed understanding. There is a gate, he said. Silence. I know, Lin Tianyu said. There is a price. I know. One person. Me. Li Jianhong. Quiet. Immediate. No hesitation. Dad. My children have their whole. No. Li Mei. One word. The tone that ended conversations. Mei. She looked at him. Just looked. He stopped. I will, Li Guowei said. My life is already. Father. Li Mei looked at the old man now. Don't. Li Guowei closed his mouth. Li Yu's hand found Lin Tianyu's arm. Tight. Nobody is staying, Lin Tianyu said. Everyone looked at him. There's another way. There isn't, Shin said. I looked. 247 years. Alone? Duh. Yes, you're not alone now. Shin looked at him, at the family around the fire, at a mythic spirit asleep on a broken wall, at an old man who had walked through his own boundary because it seemed optional, at a father with a frying pan and no combat skills who had held the center of a city for 8 hours on instinct alone, at a mother who had walked northeast for 4 days because something in her chest said to, at a girl who jumped off 6-meter towers without thinking twice. Duh. You don't know there's another way, she said. No, Lin Tianyu said. But I chose family hot pot forever before I knew if any of them were here. That I stopped making decisions based on what was possible a long time ago. I make them based on what I'm unwilling to lose. Silence. The fire. The grass. The dark above full of stars that didn't belong to any sky they knew. Li Yu grabbed his hand. Li Jianhong put his over hers. Li Mei over his. Li Guowei looked at the four of them. Slowly. Put his on top. They looked at Shun. She looked at the hands. 247 years of alone. Looking at 5 people who had found each other across an impossible world on nothing but instinct and a hot pot joke. She put her hand on top. Small. Steady. Finally still. Okay, she said. Let's find another way. Above Alcadia. They're together. All 5, but. And shunned. Duh. She's never done that before. Note. In 600 years. No one ever made her want to. A long silence. Is there another way? Duh. There never was. But we never had this family. The fire burned small and warm far below. 6 hands. Different sizes. Different scars. Different lives. Holding on to the same thing. Watch them, the first voice said. We never stopped, said the second. Chapter 10. The Price of Home. The gate looked like nothing. That was the first thing Lin Tianyu noticed. No dramatic archway. No golden light. No ancient inscription carved by hands that were no longer human. Just a door. Wooden. Ordinary. Standing alone in the middle of a field at the edge of Zone 3. Like someone had forgotten it there. That's it, Li Yu said. That's it, Shin said. Li Jianhong looked at it. It looks like our front door. Silence. He was right. It looked exactly like their front door. Same wood. Same handle. Same small crack along the bottom left corner where Li Yu had kicked it too hard at 8 years old and nobody had ever fixed it. Lin Tianyu's chest tightened. The gate shows you what home looks like, Shin said quietly. To make sure you know what you're going back to. And the price, Li Guowei said. Not a question. Shin looked at the door. One person touches the handle, she said. And stays. The rest go through. Forever, Li Mei said. Forever. The field was silent. The door waited, patient, certain, like it had been waiting for exactly this family for exactly this long. Me, Li Jianhong said. No, said Li Mei. Me, said Li Guowei. No, said Li Mei again. Li Yu started. No, Li Mei said, one word. 3 times, each one quieter than the last, each one more final. She looked at her family, her husband with his frying pan, her father-in-law with his straight back. Her son with a legendary blade and 4 skills and eyes that had seen too much for 23 years. Her daughter with a mythic spirit asleep on her shoulder. She had already decided. She had decided the moment Shun explained the price. Maybe before that. Maybe on the first night in the Silver Meadow when she stood alone against 30 shadow creatures and thought, if only one of us makes it back, let it be them. Mom, Lin Tianyu said low. Careful. He had seen it in her face. Don't. My children have. Don't say whole lives, he said. Don't say it. Li Mei looked at her son. It's okay, she said. It's not, he said. Tianyu, there's another way. There isn't. Shun. Everyone looked at her. Shun was already looking at the door, had been since they arrived, with an expression Lin Tianyu had learned to read over the past days. The expression she wore when she had already calculated something and was deciding whether to say it. Shun, he said again, quieter. You know something. A long pause. I've been here for 247 years, she said. Yes, the gate has been here the entire time. Yes, and in 247 years, she stopped. No one ever asked me to touch it, she said. Silence. What happens? Lin Tianyu said carefully. If you touch it, I don't know, she said. You've never tried. No. Why not? She was quiet for a moment. Because there was never anyone to open it for. The field. The door. The crack along the bottom left corner. Shun, Lin Tianyu said. She looked at him. You don't have to. I know, she said. Then, I want to, she said. Simple, final. The way she said everything. You don't know what happens to you, Liu said. Her voice careful in a way it never usually was. If you touch it, no, Shin said. It could. Yes. Then, I've been alone for 247 years, Shin said. She looked at Liu. At the spirit on her shoulder. At Li Jianhong who had given her his dinner without being asked. At Li Mei who had added herbs to the pot quietly so no one would feel embarrassed about needing help. At Li Guowei who had looked at her across a fire and said long time alone like he already understood everything. At Lin Tianyu who had sat down instead of running. I have spent 247 years looking for a family worth betting on, she said. I found one. That's enough. She walked toward the door. Lin Tianyu moved first, caught her hand. She stopped, looked up at him. Come back, he said, not a plea, a requirement. Shin looked at his hand around hers, small fingers. Ancient bones. 247 years of alone. I'll try, she said. She turned back to the door, reached out, touched the handle. The light was immediate, not dramatic, just present, everywhere at once. The kind of light that didn't come from a source. The door swung open. Beyond it, their hallway, their house. The smell of their home hitting all 4 of them at exactly the same moment. Clean laundry. Old wood. Something that had no name except ours. Liu made a sound. Small. Broken. Li Jianhong grabbed his wife's hand. Li Guowei straightened his back. Lin Tianyu looked at Shun. She was still holding the handle. Her eyes were closed. Her face. Peaceful. Like something that had been wound for 247 years had finally. Shun. She didn't answer. Shun. Go, she said. Eyes still closed. Go home. Not without you. Lin Tianyu. Her voice. Quiet. Certain. Go home. We're not leaving you. You're not leaving me, she said. She opened her eyes, looked at him, and smiled. The third time. The realest one. I'm staying, she said. There's a difference. Shunned. 247 years, she said. I've been waiting for something worth staying for. This world is mine, she said simply. It always was it. But you'll be alone. No, she said. She looked at the door, at the hallway beyond it, at the crack along the bottom left corner. I'll have the memory of a family who sat down instead of running, who cooked for strangers, who named their enemies, who jumped off towers, who waited in the center of cities on nothing but faith, who refused to accept impossible. She looked at Lin Tianyu. That's not nothing, she said. That's everything. The light pulsed, the door beginning to close. Go, Shin said. Liu went first, pulled through by her spirit who had made the decision for her. Li Jianhong and Li Mei together, his hand in hers. Li Guowei paused at the threshold, looked back at Shun. She looked at him. Well done, he said. Just that, she nodded once. He stepped through. Lin Tianyu last, standing in the doorway, half in, half out. I'll come back, he said. You can't. I'll find a way, he said. I always do. Shin looked at him. This boy who sat down instead of running, who cooked for someone who had forgotten what warm food felt like, who refused every impossible thing until it became possible. I know, she said. Family hot pot forever. She smiled. Don't burn the hot pot. The door closed. Their kitchen. That was where they landed. All four of them. Standing in their kitchen at, Lin Tianyu checked his phone. 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. For days. It had been 4 days. The kettle was still on. Li Yu's jacket was still on the chair where she'd left it. Everything exactly as it was, like the world had held its breath and waited. Nobody spoke. Li Jianhong moved first. He went to the stove, opened the cabinet, found the pot. Put it on the burner. Dad, Lin Tianyu said. Hot pot, Li Jianhong said. We just had. Hot pot, he said again. Final, Li Mei sat down at the table, put her face in her hands, not crying, just present, feeling the chair under her, the table in front of her, the smell of their kitchen, real, all of it real. Li Yu sat beside her, put her head on her mother's shoulder, her spirit, smaller now, back to the size it had been at the beginning, curled up on the table between them. Lin Tianyu leaned against the doorframe, watched his father cook, watched his mother breathe, watched his sister close her eyes. Grandfather, he said. Li Guowei was already sitting at the head of the table, back straight, eyes clear. The same as always, the same as always. She'll be all right, he said. Not a question. Yes, Lin Tianyu said. You'll find a way back. Yes, I know. The pot began to bubble. Li Jianhong burned the first batch of broth, exactly like always. Li Yu laughed, small, wet, real. Dad, it's fine. It's smoking. That's flavor. That is not flavor. Li Mei stood up, moved to the stove, adjusted the heat, added the herbs she kept in the cabinet above the sink. The smoke cleared, the smell changed, became something warm, something that had no name except home. Lin Tianyu looked at the chair where Shun should have been sitting, empty. He looked at it for a long moment, then sat down and pulled the chair slightly closer to his own. Just in case, just because. Tianyu, his father said. Yeah, thank you. For what? Li Jianhong looked at his son. For choosing the name you chose. Lin Tianyu looked at the pot, at his family around the table, at the empty chair beside him. Family hot pot forever, he said quietly. Yeah, his father said. Forever. The hot pot bubbled, the kitchen filled with steam, and somewhere in Arcadia, a girl who looked 12 years old sat in a silver field under stars that didn't belong to any sky anyone knew. Alone, but not the same kind of alone as before. She looked at the space beside her, at where 6 hands had been stacked, at where someone had cooked for her without being asked. She looked up at the unfamiliar stars. And for the first time in 247 years, she wasn't waiting for something. She was just there, present, alive in the way that counts. Don't burn the hot pot, she said softly, to no one, to everyone, to a family sitting around a table in a world she had never seen. She smiled, the 4th time. The end? Or is it? The door closed, a click, small, ordinary, like every door that has ever separated people. Shun didn't move, hand still raised, air still warm where the door had been. She waited, like maybe, no. She lowered her hand, sat down in the grass, exactly where they had been. She pressed her palm flat against the ground, still warm, from them. She kept it there. She had said it was enough, she had meant it, and it still hurt. Both things were true. Because there is no one who is fine with being left behind. No matter how long that person was used to being lonely. No matter how many years they spent learning to call silence home. The moment you have something real. The moment 5 people sit around a fire and make space for you without being asked. Alone stops being bearable. It just becomes the shape of what's missing. She didn't cry loudly. Just present. Hands flat in the grass. Face up to the stars. I found them, she said. Quietly. And I let them go. And it hurt. And it was worth it. And it hurt. Somewhere, in a kitchen that smelled like home, a boy pulled a chair slightly closer to his own. Didn't explain why. Somewhere, in a silver field, a girl who looked 12 years old closed her eyes, not in peace, just in the honest, unbearable aftermath of being loved. For the first time. In 247 years, she would be okay. Not tonight.